parties announce themselves for the record.
Kathy Kennedy Swanson on behalf of the Office of State Attorney.
Cody Jordan with the Public Defender's Office.
All right, please tell me your name, sir.
Paul Pajat.
All right, Mr. Pujat, you're here in 2019 CF 9469AO. You were arrested for possession of methamphetamine, possession of cannabis less than 20 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office. You're not to possess or consume any illegal substances without a valid prescription. Does he qualify for pretrial release? It says here that I guess they weren't able to interview him, or?
He would have to be interviewed.
Okay, so at this time, I'm gonna stay the bonds and put or PTR if you qualify, sir, okay? So it'd be $1,000 on count one or pretrial release, 100 or pretrial release, and 100 or pretrial release.
Okay, so they're gonna talk to you. If they qualify you for PTR, you're gonna be able to get out without having to pay anything. But if not, you can find out. Look, sir. You will get an attorney according to your case right now.
All right, please tell me your name, sir.
Brian Keith Fry.
All right, Mr. Fry, you're here in 2019 CF 9306AO. You're arrested for giving a false name adversely affecting another. I do find probable cause. I'm gonna appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. And I'm gonna stay the bond at $1,000 in the case.
Okay, sir.
Pass by Mr. Ambrose.
Sure. All right, please tell me your name, sir.
DeQuante Suttons.
Okay, is Mr. Watley?
Also Mr. Watt.
Pass him too? Okay. You said Sullins?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Mr. Sullins. You're here in 2019 CF 9470. You're arrested for possession of cocaine.
Mike,
Yeah, it's weird because it says it tested negative for cocaine, positive for heroin, and then it talks about,
possession of cocaine.
yeah. I don't know if that's a Scrivener's error. But it appears as though he tested it for cocaine, negative results, and then tested for heroin, and then results were positive.
So state would argue that it should be just the heroin, since that's what the field test shows that it tested positive for.
I know, but it's not a lesser included, it's
No, it's a
completely
completely
different
different.
offense.
State requests 24 hours.
Okay.
Your Honor, we would ask that no action be taken on his out on bonds, given the fact that this is a contentious case, multiple people in the vehicle, multiple drugs located on
Well,
other
I'm
individuals.
not taking any action on anything if I don't have probable cause today. So I don't know what will happen tomorrow. I mean, he's out on bond on multiple drug offenses.
Well,
So if the state's asking for 24 hours, I'm gonna allow that. He does have a bond, but,
with the
right,
holds, he
without the
won't be able to
holds,
bond.
correct. So, but I have to wait. So, this will be reset for tomorrow for the state to provide the court with additional information. please tell me your name, sir.
James Leonard Indo, I-N-D-O.
All right,
And
Mr.
also my name is James Leonard Burns of the FBI.
Okay, Mr. Indo, you're here in 2019 MM 5484AO. You arrested for simple trespass. I do find probable cause. I am gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent you.
Okay.
You can't go back to Lake Eola. Can he be screened for mental health pretrial release?
Yes.
Is he already being screened for that? Okay, okay, I'm gonna
I
have,
am no longer taking medication by Dr. Singh's request.
so, either way, I'm gonna set the bond at $250, and then have him screened for mental health pretrial release, okay?
They're gonna talk to you about PTR. But if you watch, wait for them to talk to you.
All right, please tell me your name.
William Antonio Smith.
All right, Mr. Smith, you're here in 19 MM 5505AO. You're arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia. This is the same fact pattern as the other gentleman in which we had the probable cause issue. But it's a drug paraphernalia case. So I do find the probable cause for the paraphernalia. I am gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent him. I'm gonna, well, is there an offer from the state?
Adjudication critical time, sir.
Okay. I won't take any action, Mr. Jordan, on pretrial release, but he needs to be very careful about who he's hanging out with, what vehicles he's hanging out in,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
because next time the revocation might happen.
Yeah.
Your Honor, after speaking with my client, he will accept the offer and enter a plea of no contest.
He gets credit for 2 days.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let him finish.
I don't know if I did that right. All right, Mr. Smith, I'm showing you this plea form. Is this your signature at the bottom?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand everything contained within the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand all the rights you're giving up by entering the plea?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I'm showing he's actually on probation, no?
Pre-trial release.
Okay, because it says county probation?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. I believe it's
Okay,
just pretrial
I
release.
just want to make sure we don't want
Yes, ma'am. This is pre-trial release.
to, okay, you don't have a probation officer, you just report to pretrial release?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, you understood everything contained, all the rights you're giving up by entering
Yes.
the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
And telling me you're not on probation?
I'm not
All
on
right.
probation.
You understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I do find a factual basis based on the affidavit to accept your plea. I am gonna adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. I do have to impose court costs. I'm gonna order you pay those by July 2nd, 2019. If you'd like to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you, okay? Good luck to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Be
Thank
very
you so
care-
much.
Be very careful what you're doing, who you're hanging out with.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Huh. All right, please tell me your name, sir.
David Lovelace.
All right, Mr. Lovelace, your attorneys have filed a motion for non-monetary release conditions in 19 MM 5285AO. I believe your bond is currently set on count one at $500 and $100 on count two. Mr. Jordan, it's your motion.
I'm sorry, could I, PTR, how many failure to appears does he have, and what's the last failure to appear?
3 failure to appears, the last one was in February of this year, 2019.
Your Honor, our client is currently homeless, transient. He does not have the affluence to afford a $500 bond. If released, he will participate with his attorneys in the furtherance of his case and report to any requested court dates, as well as he has given a listed address of someplace he can stay and receive mail and correspondence both from the court and his attorneys.
Okay, I don't have any address in the motion, only that he would live with his sister, Ruthie Williams, and her husband, Jimmy Williams, in Gibsonton, Florida. I have no address. I have no indication that he's contacted anyone with regards to seeking a bond. I have no evidence presented to me as to any of that fact. How he would get from Gibsonton to Orlando for court.
Yes, Your Honor. We have nothing further.
Okay,
State objects based on his last failure to appear.
right. So you don't want to present any evidence?
I don't believe there's anything further we can present.
Okay, based on that and no evidence being presented, I denying the motion.
Your Honor, Mr. Watley, I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson, is mental health.
Okay, we'll reset Mr. Wilson.
Ashley is also mental health.
All right, and we will reset Miss Ashme.
Capella Santiago is mental health.
We'll reset Angel Capel Santiago as well.
Going back to Robert Ambrose,
Okay,
he's mental health.
Mr. Ambrose will be reset.
And Michael Watley is mental health.
Mr. Watley will be reset.
Happy to skip through those.
Mr. Webster, how are you?
Good. For the record, Dave Webster.
All right, are you, can you tell me your name?
Yes, ma'am. It's Edwin Blackwelder.
Okay. Do we know about Errol
He's coming.
next? Okay. All right, Mr. Blackwelder, you're here in 2019 CF 9451. And you're here represented by Mr. Webster to your left. And you were arrested pursuant to a warrant which probable cause was found for 11 offenses, racketeering, importation of a controlled substance, conspiracy to import a controlled substance, conspiracy to deliver a controlled substance, importation of a controlled substance, conspiracy to import controlled substance, conspiracy to deliver a controlled substance, importation of a controlled substance, conspiracy to import controlled substance, conspiracy to deliver controlled substance, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. And Mr. Webster, did you file a notice of appearance or?
I haven't.
Okay.
We just, this all came about late last night, early
Okay,
this
I
morning.
just wasn't sure if you were representing him.
I'm here for the purpose of the first appearance, and I'd like to approach briefly, is the state or statewide gonna,
The state at this point.
okay, if we could approach briefly on
Sure.
this.
Hi, good, how are you? Just to let you know, normally with the RICO stuff, I can't access the affidavit for arrest warrant because it's never in our the clerk system, so I don't have a basis of knowledge of the facts underlying the charges, just so you know.
I can tell you what it is.
Typically stated, in relation to reducing all subsidiary to the 150 on any felonies, 100 on any misdemeanors. So you just have 100,000.
Well, I can tell you right now that if Mr. Diaz has this case over at statewide, which I'm not sure if he does, he usually objects to any reduction of any bond. I'm just, yeah.
I get that. Here, I got it, 70 or 60 from the local guy. I'll put some evidence on it, but I want to approach it.
Right, I just have no evidence from the state unless the state has the affidavit for an arrest warrant.
I can go back and nurse.
Okay.
It was, I didn't see it this morning, but I will go back and look. just to
Okay.
see.
Cause statewide might want to be heard. Right, and they usually do.
Is it going to be statewide?
I don't know, but typically they're here in the
Yeah,
morning.
if it's MDI, it's usually
Yeah, I know.
statewide, yeah.
But typically they're here in the morning, they're just not here. So they-
Basically.
We could recall it for the afternoon if you are available, so that, okay. Otherwise, or you can file just a motion for bond in Division 14, which I don't know. I think that's, Tom Young. That's just my problem here is I can take your testimony, but I have nothing else to rely on in terms of law enforcement's position or the statewide position. I know it's kind of, it's,
I know, I want to see if maybe the
I
state
can go-
has.
I can go with
but
state.
it's all from some kind, it's true, you know, 9, 10, 11 years ago.
right, yeah, it's just never in our clerk
No, I get
site
that. Let's see what the state has.
because of all the code, co-defendants.
I don't think there's any co-defendants on
Oh,
this.
okay, well, if it's a conspiracy, then,
Well, that's gonna be the big issue, but, but there are no co-defendants. This was a package, well,
It's not even our system, which means
Yeah.
it's gonna be, that's gonna be a statewide case, because it's literally, the case number doesn't even pull up in our case management at all.
and there are,
I don't know how you have, I mean, if it's a RICO and
I
a
get it.
conspiracy, yeah.
but, I mean, they had players through,
Have you read the affidavit for arrest warrant?
I did,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So you have a copy of the affidavit for
I
arrest
got
warrant?
what, yeah, I don't know how we pulled it up. We went on Orange County. I have the, so I should state.
See, because it's scanned in as affidavit to issue arrest warrant, but it's not. It's only the front 2 pages which list the charges, so I have no
Yeah, we've
access
got-
to it.
I've got the,
No, if you look, Your Honor, there's exhibits,
yes,
On
it goes through
7-1?
it, it outlaid,
and it's 10-page document.
yeah. It gives the narrative beginning April 14th.
Okay.
It talks about packages being sent to residents of Apopka and a P.O. box in Longwood. There's 3 or 4, if I recall, packages that were received from China that were intercepted by Homeland Security, opened up. And then they were able to get Mr. Blackwelder's phone. They went through.
guessing any conspirator would be Sam.
Sam.
Okay,
And there's a bunch of
I
case law.
know,
There's a
yeah.
bunch of case law on that, but irrespective, the court's already found probable cause in the warrant,
right,
so.
I'm not, yeah, I can't readdress
I
that.
get that. But Judge, I would point out, my client is 64 years old. He did have some priors as a juvenile, or not a youth, when he was like 22 or 23, which he did prison for and was released in 2002. Since 2002, he's had no involvement with the law. Prior to that, he'd had no failure to appears. He does have a residence that he owns. It's listed in the affidavit, the 2313 Park Village Circle residence in Apopka. He also, contrary to what the affidavit says, is employed full-time. He's employed with Consumer Defense Group in Maitland, Florida. He's been there for 2 years. He's a manager. Their address is 2700 West Hall Lane. That's Suite 235, and that's Maitland, Florida. Judge, I'm asking the court to simply consider just setting a $50,000 bond, and I would have no objection, as the state had indicated, on the other misdemeanors, which are all F3s. I think they'd be $100 each on those. But I'm just asking for $50,000, in addition to the information that I provided to the court off the record regarding my conversation with Mr. Blackwelder. The NBI does have his passport, so he's not a flight risk. He also has 2 children there that he's raised and live locally, as well as all of his immediate family. I would assure the court, based on my conversations, he has every intent to participate actively in his defense and appear for all court appearances for which he is court ordered.
Ms. Kennedy Swanson,
State would object to any modification, Your Honor. I believe they're all set at bond schedule.
yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna keep it at the bond schedule today, and you can file a motion in Division 14. I'm not gonna modify what Judge Wilson did in the warrant. I understand there may be issues with proof or whatever it might
Right.
be, but, for purposes, his, you know, he does have, he spent some time in prison for second-degree murder. There's some,
Correct.
yeah, there's some prior history here and a lot of fraud.
All again prior to, in the 1980s, and since 2002, when he was released, it's my understanding he's had no contact with law enforcement.
Right, well,
I understand the court's
Yeah,
rationale
I'm
and
just-
position.
so the same conditions will apply. If you're saying MBI has his passport, the condition on the warrant is that to surrender the passport
Yeah,
is a
that's
condition
already
of
in the
release.
custody.
If that's already been done, I don't know how if you have a slip so showing that they have it, or,
They confiscated that at the airport, so.
yeah, so,
Oh, it is home, yes.
right. So that's just part of the
Yeah, I
conditions
understand
of
that.
release.
Yeah,
I am just gonna stay the bond at 100,000 on count 1 and 10,000 on count 2, and the remaining 3 through 11 are at
What
1,000.
was count 2 again, Your Honor? I apologize.
It's importation of a controlled substance and no drugs without a valid prescription, no
Understood.
contact with any witnesses or co-conspirators, Sam. But without MBI here or statewide here, I'm not gonna take any action on reducing the
Understood.
bond. I'm just gonna keep it at the schedule.
Understood.
Okay? All right, Mr. Webster.
Thanks. Have a great day,
Thank you.
everybody.
You too.
Thank you for your time.
All right, please tell me your name.
Yoash Errol.
All right, Mr. Errol, you're here in 2019 CF 2922AO. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant which probable cause has previously been found for grand theft third degree over 10,000 under 20,000 and grand theft third degree of a motor vehicle. I am gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim or any witnesses in the case. The bonds will stay set at $5,000 on count one and $2,500 on count two. It says on the warrant, no return to the scene of the offense.
I'm not sure where the scene would be, considering it was a vehicle.
Well, I know, but it may be where the vehicle was taken from. I'm just trying to figure it out because it was written on the warrant. So I don't know what the scene is, so. Okay, no contact with any of the witnesses or victims.
Do you have a question?
All right, please tell me your name.
Bruce Bland?
All right, Mr. Bland, you're here in 2019 CF 9462AO. You're arrested for possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of a grocery cart or dairy case. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender. You're not to possess or consume any illegal substances without a valid prescription. Your bond on count one will be set at $2,500. Counts 2 and 3 all stay at $100 each. I'm not gonna revoke the release on the ROR case that's outstanding in 2019 CF 5981AO. But Mr. Bland, I'll let you know, this is your third arrest in 2019. And you recently just were arrested and pled to time served. So if you come back again, I'm not gonna hesitate to revoke your release.
Do you have any questions, sir? You can bond out.
Ms. Brown is a refusal, Your Honor.
Okay. We'll reset her for tomorrow, see if she wants to come. All right, please tell me your name.
Pinetta Delphont.
All right, Ms. Delphont, you're here in 2016 CF 5295. You were arrested pursuant to a capias for failing to appear for your arraignment on June 20th, 2019. The judge revoked your release and set your bond at none in that case. Does she have the public defender? Do you have any attorney?
I did not see any attorney on the case, Your Honor.
I'm gonna appoint the public defender based on the fact that you're being held on no bond in the case, and they can file any appropriate motions for you, but I can't do anything about the capias today, okay? And it looks like she is on probation. Don't know if she has a hold or.
Showing you on
No?
probation.
She is on state probation.
Harold Brown?
always set him. All right, please tell me your name.
Harold Graham.
Mr. Graham, you're here in 2019 CF 9467AO. You're arrested for burglary of a conveyance with an assault or battery. And I do find probable cause, and you did not fill out a form for the public defender. Were you planning on hiring your own attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, have
Yes,
you
Your Honor.
spoken with an attorney?
I have. He was unable to make the hearing this morning due to
Okay.
another court case at another court.
Okay, who was that?
His name is Ira Carmelin.
All right, Mr. Graham, this is an offense that is punishable by life. I don't know if you're aware of that, so I don't know. State, do you want to be heard as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, state believes that the defendant should be held at no bond based on proof evident presumption great. Looking at the four corners of the affidavit by Keith McKellen of the Orange County Sheriff's Office, looks like the 17-year-old victim honked his horn and potentially may have flicked off this defendant. The defendant then sped up behind the victim's car, cut the victim's car off. He then approached the vehicle of the victim, who was, according to the witness, was strapped in the whole time with the seatbelt. It looks like he punched the victim through the car window. The window had been rolled down. Looks like he hit him 2 different times. A bystander pulled up, said he was calling law enforcement. The victim and the defendant then shook hands, and the defendant drove off. The victim's mother did arrive on scene and said she would like to press charges and go forward. They were able to identify the tag number and of the vehicle and go to the address. Once the officer arrived at the address, he was able to identify this defendant as the person that had participated in the altercation based on the testimony of the defendant himself, and he explained what happened. Your Honor, I believe based on the nature of this road rage incident, this defendant should be held at no bond. If Your Honor is willing to give him a bond, which again state would strongly object to, this defendant, we would ask for pretrial release plus a $50,000 bond, no contact, obviously with the victim or the witnesses, Your Honor. We would like a driving curfew of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. unless he has work. No drugs, no alcohol.
Your Honor, I would note he has no priors. I don't believe he's a danger to the community. We would ask bond
Well,
to be
you're
set.
not appointed, Mr. Jordan.
I am. I'm simply asking on behalf
I
of the court.
understand, and I know the record. I have it in front of me.
Well, I just wanted to mention the fact that he doesn't have an attorney here.
I know.
I'd ask for no
But we can-
determination of
we
proof
can-
evident presumption
We
grade.
can wait for his attorney to be available.
That's what I was asking.
So, Mr. Graham, do you want to hold off on your first appearance hearing until your attorney can come to court? I don't know if anybody's filed a notice of appearance yet, but you'll be sitting here with no bond.
Your Honor, this is all new to me. I've
I
never been
understand.
arrested before, so I have no idea about all this. You're speaking in legal terms to me that I really don't understand, and I guess the only thing I wanted to say, and
Well, don't talk about the facts of
no,
anything.
ma'am, no, ma'am.
Okay,
No, Your Honor, I'm not going to talk about the facts of the case. I'm just going to talk about me. I am deeply rooted in this community. I have 3 businesses here locally that serve the community. This is a one-time.
Don't talk about what,
Okay, so, but, yeah, but,
related to the facts of the case.
Just the
You
bond.
started to go into it.
Oh,
So
no,
I'm
ma'am.
gonna stop you because I don't want you to do anything that is gonna jeopardize you later on,
I
okay?
appreciate that, Your Honor. Thank you.
I'm trying to protect your rights, okay? So, I read the affidavit after hearing the state's argument. I mean, there is proof evident presumption great, but I'm gonna use my discretion and I'm gonna grant you a bond, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Because, I mean, if we sit and wait here all day for your attorney to get here, you're just gonna be sitting without a bond. Because you
Appreciate
have
that,
no
Your Honor.
bond,
Thank you.
okay? So, these are gonna be the conditions of your release. You're not to have any contact with the victim or any witness in the case,
Understood.
okay? You're not to possess any weapons, any firearms,
I
any
don't.
ammunition. You're not to consume any illegal substances or possess any illegal substances without a valid prescription.
I've been clean and sober since 1997.
Okay. You're not to drive between the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. unless it is for work. Okay? Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so for work purposes,
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I may have misspoke.
7 p.m. to 7
yes, Your Honor.
a.m., sorry. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., unless you're driving for work, you're not to be out on the road. And I am gonna set the bond at $50,000 with pretrial release.
I'm not sure what that means, Your
So
Honor.
that means that you're gonna have to check in with a pretrial release officer in our corrections, okay? So I don't know what their requirements are gonna be, but because you're not to possess or consume any illegal substances, they need to know where you live, what your schedule is. They're gonna tell you what they're gonna need to know
Yes, Your
from you.
Honor.
Just make sure you comply with that. Was there anything additionally that
No, Your Honor.
okay, I did not miss, okay. So, Mr. Graham, make sure you speak with your attorney, and that they file a notice of appearance. If not, so that your address is on file with the clerk's office and it's correct.
Yes, Your Honor, it
Because
is.
if for some reason you don't get an attorney, do you think you're gonna be able to make that bond?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to check, because I don't want you sitting in there unrepresented
I mean,
and nobody's filed a notice of appearance yet,
okay.
okay? So,
Yes.
you think you'll be able to make the bond?
Under the 10% rule, I believe I will,
Okay,
yes.
all right, I just want to make sure, because I don't want you sitting in there without being unrepresented,
Okay.
okay? Okay,
Yes.
all right, you understand all of those conditions of release?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, please tell me your name.
Damian Hibbert.
All right, Mr. Hibbert, you're here in 2017 CF 15100BO. You were arrested pursuant to a capias for failing to appear for your case management on June 3rd, 2019. The judge in that case revoked your release and set your bond at none. And as he represented, you do have the public defender, and they can file any appropriate motions for you.
Sir, I've already let your attorney know. But you gotta get that, right? You need to talk to your attorney.
All right, please tell me your name.
Andre Ramon Jenkins.
All right, Mr. Jenkins, you're here in, looks like 7 cases. 2019 CF 9444AO, you're arrested for petty theft, 2 prior convictions. I'm gonna appoint the public defender in every case for you. I do find probable cause, and I'm gonna stay the bond at $1,000. You're not to go back to the TJ Maxx at 80 West Grant Street or have any contact with any listed victim or witness in the case. Same conditions will apply in 2019 CF 9446AO for petty theft, 2 priors. I do find probable cause, same thing as before, all of those same conditions. Your bond will stay at $1,000. In 2019 CF 9447, 2 petty theft prior convictions. I do find probable cause. I appointed the PD already. You can't go back again, same conditions, TJ Maxx, no contact with anyone there. Bond stays at 1,000. 2019 CF 9448, petty theft, 2 priors, do find probable cause. Can't go back, same place, TJ Maxx, 80 West Grant Street, no contact with anyone at that location. The bond stays set at $1,000. 2019 CF 9449AO, 2 counts, petty theft, 2 prior convictions, I find probable cause. And I'm gonna stay the bond, $1,000 and $150. You can't go back to Ross, 306 East Michigan Street, no contact with any witnesses or victims at that location. 2019 CF 9450. And that's a petty theft, 2 prior convictions, stay the bond at $1,000, and you can't go back again to the TJ Maxx, 80 West Grant, no contact with any victims or witnesses at that location as well.
You already get picked up on this, and that's already done. Do you have questions? No. This is just Elvis proof that every case that we work here, that's all the kids.
All right.
All right, please tell me your, oh,
Mr. Mack is downtown court.
okay. We'll reset him. Is he in downtown court for this case, do we know? It's in that division, formally.
You said he's in that division?
Well, yeah, and I'm showing today that it looks like it was possibly fled out. 7-2, defendant to be returned to the Department of Corrections, outstanding warrant served on defendant. Notice of fees and costs, so my guess is that it probably fled out today. I don't have anything else other than that. So if he's here, we'll bring him back, but I think it's been fled out today. I just don't want there to be a hold on him if he in fact did plea it out. Are you Mr. Miller?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Miller, you're here in 2019 CF 9459AO. You're arrested for burglary of an occupied dwelling, criminal mischief, and petty theft. I do find probable cause. I'm gonna appoint the public defender's office. You're not to return back to 623 Shepherd Road. You're not to have any contact with the victim, your mother, in the case. You're not to possess or consume any illegal substances without a valid prescription. Your bond will be set at $10,000 on count 1, and I'll stay 2 and 3 at $100. All right, please tell me your name.
John Randall.
Mr. Randall, you're here in 2019 CF 9435AO. You're arrested for possession of a controlled substance. I do find probable cause. I'm gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You're not to possess or consume any illegal substances without a valid prescription. I'm gonna stay the bond at $1,000.
I'm homeless. I don't have any family. Like, is any kind of help? Like,
I'm sorry, I can't.
I say I'm homeless. I stay on the streets. I don't have any family. Like, can I get like a pretrial, anything,
I don't know
any kind of help?
I don't know if you'll qualify for pretrial release if you're homeless and they have no ability to have an address for you, and it doesn't appear as though you were interviewed. I don't have an objection to you going on pretrial release. if you qualify, so I'll put bond or pretrial release, but I don't think that you're gonna qualify.
PTR, does he,
He hasn't been interviewed yet.
okay, so we could interview.
All right, please tell me your name.
Tanisha Stallworth.
Ms. Stallworth, you're here in 2019 CF 9471AO. You're arrested for possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause. I'm gonna appoint the public defender's office. You're not to possess or consume any illegal substances without a valid prescription. Stay the bond at 1,000 on count 1, 100 on count 2. You're out on bond. In 2019 CF 7479AO, you're out on ROR. I'm gonna revoke that release and set it at none, and you do have an attorney in that case.
You said the bond.
She revoked your bond and your ROR. You need to talk to the Regional Conflict Counsel who represents you in the 2019 case. I'm putting down the case number. But right now, you're gonna be held no bond. The Public Defender's Office is gonna look at this case, but RCC is on that one. Technically, attorney in that case, because you're being held no bond.
All right, please tell me your name.
I'm hearing impaired.
Yeah, headphone? All right, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you tell me your name, sir?
Isaac Michael Valdez.
All right, Mr. Valdez, you're here in case number 2019 CF 9455AO. You're arrested for possession of a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause. Did you fill out a form for the public defender?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you want to see if you qualify for the public defender?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you planning on hiring your own attorney?
No, I'm just gonna plead guilty.
Well, you can't plead guilty today because it's a felony, and the state needs to file an information for it to be pled out. So there's nothing that I can plea out today. I can just give you conditions of release and set a bond. So do you want me to see if you qualify for the public defender?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you work?
No, ma'am. I'm retired.
Do you get any income from the government whatsoever?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how much do you get per month?
1,074.
Okay, and I'm gonna find that you qualify for the public defender. I'm gonna appoint them to represent you. And you're not to possess or consume any illegal substances without a valid prescription. Is he does not qualify for pretrial release?
He did not previously.
Okay. I can't put you in pretrial release, but I am gonna stay the bond on count 1 and 2, 1,000 on count 1, 100 on count 2. All right, Mr. Valdez? All right, please tell me your name.
Tiana Walker.
All right, Ms. Walker, you're here in 2019 CF 9486. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant for burglary of an occupied dwelling with an assault or battery. It's a punishable by life felony. Probable cause has previously been found. I am gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Steve, do you wanna be heard as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor, looking at the four corners of the affidavit to issue arrest warrant by OPD Deputy Officer Sayer. We are asking this defendant be held at no bond based on proof evident presumption great. It looks like this defendant had a hair appointment with the victim. She was running late. The victim posted on Facebook that she was now available to do hair. This defendant then responded to the victim on Facebook. The victim said she was unable to perform her services at that time. The defendant then came to the victim's house where she entered the house without permission. The victim and the victim's child were laying in bed. This defendant then struck the victim multiple times and then left the home. The victim left her home and went to her grandmother's house. She then came back and was told that this defendant came back with a car full of females ready to fight the victim. That's when she decided to call 911. Your Honor, based on the nature of the charge, it being a punishable life offense, and the fact that there was a minor present during this altercation, we believe the defendant should be held at no bond. If Your Honor is going to use her discretion at all, we'd ask for a $50,000 bond. We'd ask for no contact with the victim, no return to the victim's residence or apartment complex as a whole, no weapons, no firearms, no drugs or alcohol. We'll also ask that PTR for random urinalysis be applied.
Mr. Jordan?
Your Honor, there is in dispute in this affidavit of whether or not how she gained entry. According to the alleged victim, the defendant was an uninvited burglar who entered the residence without permission. But in dispute is the fact that the alleged victim was inviting people into her home so she could perform hairstyling services. The door was not secured. She posted her location on Facebook and was inviting others into her home. There is at dispute here, and I don't believe the state is contesting this, of whether or not her residence was being used as a business. And as such, there might be possible defenses as to the entry into the home of whether or not she was in fact an invitee. Given that confusion and need for further evidence and dispute, we'd ask the court not to find proof evident presumption great as to the charge of burglary of an occupied dwelling.
State doesn't believe there's a dispute at this point. There's been no testimony from the defendant. So there will be no dispute. It's the
This
fact.
is a legal, factual dispute.
Okay, let her talk, and then if you want to respond, I'll let you respond, but not going to interrupt each other.
Your Honor, the facts that the victim has provided in this affidavit are that she at one point revoked the privilege of her coming into the residence by saying she was unavailable because the defendant was late, Your Honor. If we go with the argument of the defense, it would be that if my home or business is open, I would never be allowed to revoke someone's permission at any given time. I don't think that's the way it is stated in this affidavit, nor I don't think that's the law as said.
Mr. Jordan, did you want to respond to your, you started to talk, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to make whatever argument you want to make, considering.
That's fine, Your Honor.
Okay.
Nothing further.
So, obviously, probable cause has already been found pursuant to the warrant. With regards to proof evident presumption great, based on the injuries, based on the victim's statement, I do find proof evident presumption great, but I'm gonna give her a bond. So she's not to return back to 5020 North Lane, apartment 21, or to any apartment at the Orlando Sky Apartments. Do you understand, Ms. Walker, not to go back to that apartment complex
Yes.
whatsoever?
Yes,
Even if you have a client there,
yes,
okay? You're not to have any contact with the victim or the witness, the child, okay?
okay,
None whatsoever. You're not to possess or consume any illegal substances without a valid prescription. You're not to possess any weapons, any firearms, or any ammunition. And your bond will be set at $50,000 plus pretrial release with random urinalysis. And again, can't go back there, and you're not to have any contact with anyone, your bond will be $50,000. Okay? Mr. Friend bonded out, I guess.
I'm sorry, we got a few. Yes?
Are you Miss Jarrell?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Miss Jarrell, you're here in case number 2019 MM 5489. You're arrested for trespass in a dwelling. I do find probable cause. I'm gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Was there an offer?
Yes, Your Honor, adjudication 3 days, no return, she has credit for 2.
Your Honor, after speaking with my client, she does wish to accept the offer and will enter a plea of no contest.
Okay.
So,
Do you have any questions, ma'am?
no.
You on probation?
Thank you. Oh, sorry. All right, Miss Jarrell, I'm not gonna take any action on your out on bond case, but if I see you again, then it's likely that I will, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Jarrell, is your signature at the bottom of the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand everything contained within the plea form?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
understand all the rights you're giving up by entering the plea?
Yes.
Are you on probation anywhere?
No, ma'am.
You understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I do find a factual basis for you to enter the plea based on the affidavit in the court file, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You may not go back to Hometown Studios at 9435 Delegates Drive,
Okay.
okay? You've been trespassed. You cannot go back there. I do have to impose court costs. I'm gonna order that you pay those by July 2nd, 2020. That gives you a year to pay them off. If you'd like to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Please tell me your name.
Isabella Schwengel.
Ms. Schwengel, you're here in 2019 MM 5486AO. You're arrested for trespass and a conveyance. I do find probable cause. I'm gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Was there an offer?
Yes, Your Honor, withhold 3 days.
Is she at 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I do have to impose court costs.
Are you on probation?
Thank you. All right, are you gonna plead no contest?
Yes, Your Honor, this will be
All
a
right.
plea of no contest.
Ms. Schwingel, I'm showing you this plea form. Is this your signature at the bottom?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand everything contained within the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand all the rights you're giving up by entering the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on probation anywhere?
No,
You
ma'am.
understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I do find a factual basis based on the affidavit in the court file to accept your plea. I'm gonna withhold adjudication, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. I do have to impose court costs. I'm gonna order you pay those by July 2nd, 2020. If you'd like to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you, ma'am. Good luck.
Yes, ma'am.
right, please tell me your name.
Devon Welch.
All right, Mr. Welch, you're here in 2019 MM 5491 AO. You're arrested for trespass on property after warning. I do find probable cause. I'm gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Was there an offer?
Adjudication, 3 days, no return, Your Honor. Credit for 2.
You'll get out today. No probation. Your Honor, after speaking with my client, he does wish to accept the offer and enter a plea of no contest.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Welch, I'm showing you this plea form. Is this your signature at the bottom?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand everything contained within the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Understand all the rights you're giving up by entering the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on probation anywhere?
No, ma'am.
Understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I do find a factual basis based on the affidavit in the court file to accept your plea. I'm gonna adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You may not go back to the Emerald Villas Apartments at 5450 Chala Way. You've been trespassed there. If you go back, you're gonna get arrested,
All right.
so don't go back. I do have to impose court costs. I'm gonna order you pay those by July 2nd, 2020. It gives you a year to pay them off. You want to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. Good luck to you. Please tell me your name.
Richard McCassin.
All right, Mr. McCaslin, you're picked up on an out-of-county warrant out of Volusia County. And looks like your bond is $361. And if you can bond out, you can bond out. If not, Volusia County has 72 hours to pick you up. That does not include weekends or holidays, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Got Eddie Parks, Your Honor.
Okay. I don't, is Mr. Dozier coming?
Dozier refused.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna address his case. Mr. Dozier, 2019 CF 9000AO, he's refused to come to court today. And he's previously had his last yesterday was medical, but he's refusing to come to court. I'm gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent him. Mr. Jordan, do you wanna formally waive his appearance for the record?
Yes, Your Honor, we'll waive his appearance.
Okay, so he's charged with possession of a controlled substance without a prescription and trafficking in heroin over 4 grams, under 30 grams. I do find probable cause for the offense is, and his conditions of release are to not possess or consume any illegal substances without a valid prescription. His bond will remain set at I'm gonna set count 1 at $150, and count 2 will stay set at the $100,000. All right, you're Mr. Parks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Parks, you're here in 19 MM 4495AO. And your attorneys have filed a motion to revoke your ROR and modify your bond based on the state filing and information in 2019 CF 4633AO on June 28, 2019. Mr. Jordan?
Your Honor, we're asking for his ROR to be revoked and his bond to be set at $1.
Okay, I'm gonna revoke the bond or release, but I'm not setting a bond at $1. So it's either it gets revoked or not.
The state has no objection to it being a bond set. I mean, $1, it's fine with the state, but if Your Honor wants to do higher, that's fine. It's just a matter of so that he can bond out if he's able to bond out on the out-of-bond case.
While the other
Or the
case
other
is
case, I'm
pending,
sorry.
he's accrued, we would prefer he accrue time in this case. So that is why we.
I understand the purpose of the motion, but setting it at $1, you're asking me to revoke the release. So I'm not gonna set it at $1. So what was the original bond? That's what I'll set it at.
1,000.
Okay, so I'll set it at 1,000, which was the original bond.
So, Thank you, Your Honor.
Are you Mr. Spivey?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir, you're here in 19 MM 5317 AO, and your attorneys have filed a motion for non-monetary release conditions, and it appears you have a $250 bond currently.
State had no objection, Your Honor.
Okay. And so, Mr. Spivey, are you, can you just advise me of any failures to appear? Okay, none whatsoever, okay. So, you're gonna live at 1405 West Michigan Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you need to keep in touch with your attorneys, because if you don't have that specific address and they send you anything, you need to be able to make sure that you get notice,
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
of any court dates. Because if you miss a court date, chances are a judge, not me, but a judge, who handles your case is gonna set your bond at none. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So-
Can we ask the state if we can
No,
settle
I
this
already-
today?
I already.
We just have not filed that
Oh,
information.
there's no information filed yet, so they can't, the only time that you can plead to a misdemeanor without an information being filed is at initial appearance. So I can't plea your case out today, even if we all wanted to, because no information's been filed.
So that means I'm going home today?
You're
So
going.
I'm gonna grant your motion, but like I said, you need to make sure that they have a way of getting in touch with you. So if
Yes.
the state does file an information and you get notice of an arraignment date or whatnot, that you show up, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Can I just wanna ask him one question?
Just don't talk about facts of
Yeah,
your
of course
case.
not, ma'am.
What's your question? Oh, you wanna ask him a question? All right.
Thank you
good
for your
luck to
time,
you.
everybody. God bless. Thank you.
State's ready to 30-day motions.
All right, 2019 CF 7661AO Lazaro Vela.
Should be granted a state filing notice of non-filing for the 33rd day, 6/28.
That will be granted. 2019 CF 6082AO Rachel Lynn Higgins.
That should be granted a state filing notice of non-filing before the 33rd day.
That will be granted. 2019 CF 7782AO Michael Alden Williams.
That should be denied a state filing information and request to transfer from felony to misdemeanor on 7/1.
All right, that will be denied. 2019 CF 7494AO James Eugene Brown.
That should be granted the state filed notice of non-filing before the 33rd day on 16/8.
I didn't even see him on the, oh, okay, there it is. They're just not in the order. So you said granted? Yeah?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, these just aren't in order of,
You're doing the add-on docket first, and
oh, okay. So, did we already address Ms. Higgins?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take that back because I was doing it by order. Her bond was revoked on 6/18/2019. Okay, Marshall Shane Fenn, 19 CF 571780. That looks like his bond was revoked on 6/18. That will be denied. Proper motion is a bond motion. (2019) CF 7813, Carlos David Matos Flores.
that should be denied. The state filed information this morning.
That will be denied. 2019 CF 7333AO, Tommy Joe Mitchell.
She denied the state filed information on 7/1.
That will be denied. 2019 MM 4521, Cedric Perry.
That should be denied. The state filed information and request to transfer from felony to misdemeanor on 6/27.
That will be denied. Okay, 2019 CF 7755AO, Chance Ezekiel Biles Johnson.
That should be denied. The state filed information on 7/1.
That will be denied. 2019 CF 7840AO, Dalkeith Antonio Morris.
That should be granted. The state filed notice of non-filing on 7/1.
That will be granted. 2019 MM 4506AO, Eric Maurice Keenan.
That should be granted. The state filed notice of non-filing on 7/1.
That will be granted. 2019 MM 4596AO, Robert Michael Gillum. Looks like the 33rd day isn't until tomorrow.
That should be denied. The state filed information on 7/1.
Okay. That will be denied. 2019 MM 4590AO, Ada Carrasquillo.
That should be granted. The state filed notice of non-filing on 7/1.
Okay. That's also untimely, just so we know. 33rd day would be tomorrow. That's granted. 2019 CF 7674AO Shaquille Najee Irby.
We granted the state filed a no information notice on 7/1.
From one, and I just wanted to note that the parties both asked or requested for a move up. So Mr. Jordan, have you had every opportunity that you need to speak with all of your clients?
Yes, Your Honor, I've had every opportunity to review these cases and speak with them in the back prior to court.
All right. And then previously, Mr. Baker bonded, so we'll not take any action on that. Okay. And are you Mr. Barconi?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Barconi, you're here in 2019 CF 9480AO. You were arrested for possession of cocaine. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. And you're not to possess or consume any illegal substances without a valid prescription. I'm going to state the bond at $1,000. Mr. Burgos Cadigas bonded. That's 19019838. Okay. Please tell me your name.
Maria Carr.
All right, Ms. Carr, you're here in 2019 CF 9481AO. You're arrested for possession of MDMA. And I do find probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. And you're not to possess or consume any illegal substances without a valid prescription. I am going to state the bond at $1,000.
Your Honor, she does not have any failure to appear since 2002.
Well, she's wanted out of Georgia and for failing to appear. So I'm not going to ROR. Okay, and Mr. Harris bonded. We'll reset Mr. Jermalowicz. Then Mr. Joseph bonded.
Mr. Joseph bonded, Your Honor.
Okay. Is this Mr. Meeks?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Meeks. You're here in 2019 CF 9477AO. You're arrested for possession of a controlled substance without a prescription and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. And in that case, you're not to consume or possess any illegal substances without a valid prescription. I am going to stay the bond at 1,000 on count 1 and 100 on count 2. You're also here in 19 CT 802AA. You were arrested for driving while license suspended or revoked. I do find probable cause, and I am going to stay the bond at $500, and I'm going to appoint the PD in that case as well.
Your Honor, on the next defendant, we have a stipulation.
Brian O'Neill bonded, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Your Honor, I spoke with the state prior to court.
All right, is this Mr. Rodriguez Davila? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, sir, you're here in 2019 CF 9474AO. You're arrested for trafficking in heroin, more than 4 grams, less than 14 grams, possession of cocaine, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender, and
The defense had a PC challenge, so instead of state requesting 24 hours.
what's the PC challenge?
The PC challenge is if they're the counts 1 and 2. I believe it should be charged as under the mixture statute. Statute 893.13 subsection 1B, because it is a mixture of substances, the police report indicates it is a mixture of cocaine and heroin, but does not designate how much cocaine or how much heroin is in the mixture, only gives a total amount of just over 10 grams. Under that statute, the bond schedule would be $15,000 instead of the
15?
15,000 instead of 100,000. So I requested the state if they would agree to a $15,000 bond.
State no objection, he has no priors, so 15,000 as count one, and then 150 and 100.
Okay. So pursuant to the agreement, the court will sign off on that. It'll be a $15,000 bond on count one, 150 on count two, 100 on count three. Not to possess any illegal substances without a valid prescription, no weapons or firearms or ammunition. Gibbons bonded, Jackson bonded, Orta bonded. Okay. All right, please tell me your name.
Miss Jennifer Maldonado.
All right, Miss Maldonado. You're here in 19 MM 655 AW. You're arrested for petty theft. It's a retail offense and trespass on property after warning. I do find probable cause. I'm gonna appoint the public defender's office. Was there an offer?
There was not, Your Honor.
So ma'am, you're not to return back to the Circle K at 400 Franklin Street. You can't go back there.
Okay. What about the other charges that I'm out on bond on?
We're gonna deal with that in a second. So
Okay.
you're not to go back to the Circle K. You're
Yes,
not to
ma'am.
have any contact with any people at that location, anyone who works there.
Yes, ma'am.
Your bond on count one will be stayed at 500. Count two, I'm gonna reduce to 100. And I looked up the out on bond case. There's a competency status, but there was no motion filed ever for purposes of competency, and there's been no finding of incompetency. I couldn't even find a motion. In light of the facts of this case, I am gonna revoke the bond in 2019 MM 186 AW and set that at no bond.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, please tell me your name.
Michael Smith.
Michael Smith. All right, Mr. Smith, and you're here in 19 MM 5512 AO. You were arrested for possession of cannabis less than 20 grams, disposing of a lighted cigar or cigarette, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause. I'm gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent you. And was there an offer for Mr. Smith?
Yes, Your Honor, a withhold is count one as counts two and three adjudications, credit for time served of 2 days, I'm sorry, 1 day.
And I would have to impose court costs. All right, Mr. Smith, I need to know what you want to do. Do you
Your-
want to
Your Honor,
accept the offer?
He doesn't have his glasses
They
to read the
throw it
plea
away,
form.
and
I'm simply explaining the plea form in its
Okay,
entirety
I
because he
was-
does not have glasses to read them. I'm sorry, Your Honor. He is accepting the offer. I'm just explaining the details.
Okay.
All right,
Well, I need to make sure that you understand the rights you're giving up by entering the plea.
And that's what I was discussing with him, Your Honor.
Okay.
Stay right here.
All right, Mr. Smith, I'm showing you this plea form. Is this your signature at the bottom?
yes.
Did you understand everything that's contained within the plea form that
So
Mr.
good so far.
Okay, did Mr. Jordan explain to you the rights that you're giving up by entering the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you understand there won't be a trial. You won't be able to call witnesses and confront them. The state's witnesses, you won't have to put on a defense or anything like that. You understand that?
Okay.
And that you have a right to testify and that all of those things.
Okay.
Do you understand? Do you need somebody to read the plea form to you?
I'll read it when I get my glasses.
Well, that's not, you have to read it before.
It's okay.
No, it's not okay. So, Mr. Jordan, you're gonna have to have somebody read this plea form to him if he can't read it, because,
I understand, Your Honor.
I mean, there's a lot of rights here.
If we could recall this at the end.
It's not just a matter of giving him the gist of it.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. I know they work. They work perfect. And we'll just-
Mr. Graham, he bonded to,
Mr. Graham bonded, yes, Your Honor.
all right, please tell me your name.
Jeff Wayne, family.
All right, Mr. Finley, you're here in 19 MO 1232 AO. You're arrested for an open container violation. I do find probable cause. I am gonna appoint the public defender's office. Was there an offer for Mr. Finley?
Adjudication 3 days, credit for 2.
You get into that. Your Honor, after speaking with my client, he does wish to accept the offer and enter a plea of no contest.
All right, Mr. Finley, I'm showing you this plea form. Is this your signature at the bottom?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand everything that was contained within the plea form?
Yes.
Yes?
What you said?
Did you understand everything that was
Yes, ma'am,
contained
I
within the
understand.
plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
You
I
understand all the rights you're giving up by entering the plea? It's on.
Well, no, mute it until the sound goes away, because it's a reverb.
Do you understand all the rights you're giving up by entering the plea, sir?
Yes,
Are you on probation anywhere?
no, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes.
All right, I do find a factual basis for you to enter the plea based on the affidavit. In the court file. I'm gonna adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. I do have to impose court costs. I'm gonna order that you pay those by July 2nd, 2020. It gives you a year to pay them off. If you want to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. Good luck to you, sir. tell me your name, please.
Ron F. Powell.
Mr. Powell, you're here in 19 MO 1233AO. You're arrested for an open container violation. Do find probable cause. I'm gonna appoint the public defender. Was there an offer for Mr. Powell?
Yes, Your Honor, adjudication 3 days, credit for 2.
Okay, and I do have to impose court costs, Mr. Powell, okay? You want to accept that offer? You would get out today, I just don't know what time.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Your Honor, after speaking with my client previously, he does wish to accept the offer. This will be a plea of no contest.
Not doing anything.
Do you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
Judge is just going to ask you a few questions. All right?
All right, Mr. Powell, I'm showing you this plea form. Is this your signature at the bottom?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand everything contained within the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand all the rights you're giving up by entering the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on probation anywhere?
No, ma'am.
You understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation.
Yes, ma'am.
If you find a factual basis to accept your plea based on the affidavit in the court file, I'm gonna adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. I do have to impose court costs. I'm gonna order that you pay those by July 2nd, 2020. If you'd like to appeal the judgment, sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. Okay? Good luck to you.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Smith, I'm recalling your case, 19 MM 5512AO, and have you had an opportunity to review the plea form with the glasses?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, and is this your signature on the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understood everything that's contained within the plea form? Is that a yes? We gotta
Yes.
speak out loud, because we're being
No, I have
recorded.
an abscess in my mouth. So I
Oh,
can't-
okay, all right. Well, do you understand all the rights you're giving up by entering the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are you on probation anywhere?
No, Your Honor.
You understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so, I do find a factual basis to accept your plea to each count. On count 1, I'm gonna withhold adjudication, sentence you to 3 days or 1 day in the Orange County Jail with credit for 1 day that you've served. On counts 2 and 3, I'm gonna adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 1 day in the Orange County Jail with credit for 1 day time served. Those counts are all gonna run concurrent, and I do have to impose court costs. I'm gonna order that you pay those by July 2nd, 2020. If you want to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you, okay?
Thank
Good
you,
luck
bro.
to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
You too.
Look, sir.
Have a good day.
All right, was there anything else?
That's all, Your Honor.
All right, we'll be in recess until tomorrow.